Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are excited to have our next guest with us, LaTasha Henry, joining us here live on the show from Empowerment Journey. And she's also live on the Zoom today. We're going to talk more about the work she does and how she provides a safe space for so many people out there dealing with depression and, mental health, trauma. She's here to help. And first and foremost, hey, how are you feeling? I know you had an injury last time we spoke, right?
Yeah, I just had knee surgery the last time, but I am recovering well and been up moving around, so it's going good.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. How can we contact you? Would you mind sharing the website?
Oh, yes, you can go to latashahenry.com
Mm-hmm.
or Wealthy Women Entrepreneurs Network.
Perfect. All right. And tell us a little bit about yourself, the work you do. And I know we'll get into a little bit about empty nest syndrome later, right?
Oh, yes, yeah. So, what I do is I just help individuals who are struggling with a hard time, whether it's dealing with trauma, healing from childhood trauma, um, going through hard obstacles in life, and they just feel like they don't have the power to get through it, or the energy, um, empty nest syndrome,
Yeah.
different things like that.
All right. Well, thanks for being here. And we're excited to have you back to talk more about the work you're doing and how you're helping people. So, as you mentioned, the empty nest, what was it called? Empty nest syndrome?
Yes,
What
yes,
what is
yeah.
that specifically?
So empty nest syndrome is when your kids leave the home. And so a lot of individuals struggle with that because, you know, now you have to find kind of a new you.
Hmm.
I know when my daughter left to go to college, I was lost, completely lost. I mean, I did have two other children, but it still was very, very different. And you're trying to find a new schedule, you're trying to find a new way of doing things. And not having that person there that's been with you for 20 years, right? So a lot of people get very sad and they don't know how to find themselves. They don't know how to step back in to their power. They don't know how to start doing things on their
Yeah.
own. They don't know what their purpose is because their purpose has always been to be a mom, right? So
Yeah.
I just help them through that process.
Well, thank you for being back and, working with so many people. And by the way, men, women, age range, what are you working with here normally?
Yeah. So I work with different ranges, but with the empty nest syndrome, it's more of, midlife, like around 30 to 40, 50-ish age range.
Got it. All right. So let's talk. How do you help people dealing with this empty nest syndrome? I can only imagine because here I am. So my world is surrounded by the 7 and 9 year olds, and I feel like I've lost myself. Things I like to do. I don't go out. I don't date. I don't like it's just I'm in shock. And I'm like, wow, life has changed, but it's for the better and I'm doing the right thing, but I feel like I've lost myself.
Yeah. So, I was a single mom for 17 years, and all I knew was working and coming home and taking care of my kids, working, coming home and taking care of my kids. And my schedule was their schedule. So, whatever I wanted to do or whatever it was that I used to like to do, it all changed the moment I had kids. And, when you first have kids, as many parents do, like you have that scary moment of this human is depending on me. Like I got to take care of this baby, right?
Yeah.
So when you are the one that's doing it, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, whether, you're a single mom or a dad or whichever, when the time comes that they want to go out on their own, go to college or just get their own place, um, you feel like you're losing a piece of you, right? And
Yeah.
now everything that you have been doing is you got to change. And it's hard for a lot of people to make that
So
change
true.
because they feel like they lost their child, like their child's not home. So now they're sad and how am I going to do this? Or, if they have younger siblings, like how are we all going to go have family night? So it's just juggling those things that a lot of people struggle with. Like, I know when I was going through it, I just was like, well, it's not really doing family things if she's not here with us, right? Like, it's not really going out to dinner because she's not here. So I struggled with being able to do different things like that, or even finding who I was again, right? Like, now I had all this extra time, so what am I going to do? Like, what do you do? I mean, I didn't know. I was like, I have no idea. I gotta figure that out, because what I used to do and what I know to do, I no longer can do. So, helping them, figure all that out, find their happiness again and their power. And, when you're going through empty nesting is also a time where,
Yeah.
you know, people are grieving, childbearing loss. That
Hmm.
is also something that is very hard for people. So, just covering those things and helping them find, their strength and that, and bringing them to be happier and healthier again.
Interesting. Well, thank you for sharing. Could you tell us, give us some insight to the work you've done with someone who's going through this and explain the process?
Yeah, so I have a one-on-one coaching, and then I have a program, and then there's a course. And so what happens is I will talk to individuals and I will see where they are, right? Like, if it's mental health, or if it's trauma, or if
Yeah.
it's empty nest, whatever it is that their need is, then that's where I will direct them on, the program that will be tailored to them to help them, and it would be an 8-week program. And we just, every other day we are on the phone doing coaching. We are working through this program. We are working on goals. We are finding what interests you have. We are finding, what makes you happy again. Getting you out, doing different things. Like, I have a lady now who she would not get out of her bed, just
Mhm.
wanted to stay in her bed and did not want to get out. And I was like, no, no, we can't do that. So, I was able to coach her enough to get her outside in the sunlight. And then while she was there, you know, talked positive things and why she, could be out there. And I'm like, look around, tell me what you see, what's going on. And she lived by a park. And so she's like, I see people playing, and I see, people out there with their children. I said, okay, well, you can walk over there and enjoy that too. Like, just go and talk to people and be active. Like, don't just stay in a dark room, because that's not going to get you better. And now, she goes out every day. She goes for a walk to make sure she gets that sunshine, and she's finding different things that she likes to do. Like, I think one was yoga, and that exercise where they're on a trampoline. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah. So she's found different things that she likes to do, and she's doing them. So I love that I was able to help her find a happier place, and step
Aw.
into her.
Well, that's the stories we like to hear. And did you want to elaborate on this more or talk about some of the other things that you're helping people with?
Oh no, we can talk about some other things. Childhood trauma. That is something really big. And people do not allow themselves to heal from it for whatever reason, whether it be you're a parent, or you're working so much, or you just try to not think about it because you feel like you don't have the support around you and you don't want others to know what's going on. So working with those individuals is also very unique. But it's fun because I get to get them to a healthier place in life. And, letting them see that just because you went through this doesn't make you different, right? Like, you are still the same person. You are still just as valuable as the next. And yeah, it's great seeing that transmission, the transvision of them all take place.
Well, there's lots of trauma that even people have that don't realize they have, right? Because people say, "Oh, my family, I had trauma. My parents were arguing. The cops are always there. They had drug issues. My father." So, like, that's trauma. But isn't there a lot that sometimes people don't realize there's trauma? Could you share the underlying traumas and what that could mean, and how do you uncover that?
Right. So a lot of people, yeah, they don't think maybe what they've been through is actually trauma, but the problem comes when they're in their adult life and they're doing things and they realize that what they're doing or what someone might have said to them has hit them in a different way, right? And so when that happens, they respond to it and then they're confused as to why they responded the way that they did because, when they were younger, they didn't realize what was going on wasn't healthy or they didn't realize what was being in front of them wasn't, good. And it was more of like a toxic environment, right? And so a lot of people, unfortunately, if they see it and they grow up around it, then they tend to stay with it, right? So if they don't realize that it's toxic and they don't realize that it's not okay, then they're not going to change. They don't know. So until someone points it out to them, they don't know. And then when I'm talking to them and we're going through things, they kind of have that aha moment, like, yeah, that is right. And that it was that, and so, talking to people and getting them to realize that just because maybe you were not hit every single day, right? Or maybe you weren't not fed or something, but like the more like common things that people think of when it comes to abuse, there doesn't mean that something didn't happen and that's why you are responding the way that you did. So just getting them to realize that there is something, that happened and let's figure that out. And now we can figure out why you're getting upset about, so and so, or you're upset when you go to this place. That part is actually it's again, it's unique and every person is different, but when they put in the work and they communicate and they talk, it's just hearing all the stories unfold and what they went through and then explaining all of it back to them and seeing like the reaction of like, oh, yeah, that does make sense, right? So, and then watching them blossom is really nice.
Well, let's also remind everyone at this time how we can reach out to you so we can all start our blooming journey.
Yeah. So you can go to my website, latashahenry.com. Don't space Latasha and Henry, that's together. Or you can go to Wealthy Women Entrepreneurs Network and reach me there as well. Or I have Facebook, Latasha Henry, or I have TikTok, Empowering You 3.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And by the way, you've been doing this for how long? And could you share just a little bit more of that background and why you love what you do?
Yes, yeah. So, I struggled myself,
Hmm.
when my daughter left. I also
Hit my phone.
struggled.
Sorry.
Um,
Ah, here I am. It fell. It happens all the time.
um, I had some childhood trauma that I went through. Um, And so for me, dealing with those things and trying to get myself in a better place for my family, um, I knew how that felt. I knew some of the things that I was feeling. I knew like, not feeling like this was normal or
Yeah.
not having someone else to talk to and not having that support. It can be dangerous. And so their suicide is very high, especially in the younger generation. And it's so sad. It's so sad, but they just don't know what they don't know, right? And so if people aren't talking about it and people are not having conversations, then no one's going to know. And so I wanted to be able to start those conversations. I wanted to be able to use my own struggles and what I was dealing with, with PTSD and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
my symptoms and open that conversation for others to have, and it has I'm very thankful that I have been given that ability to help those open conversations with family members or coworkers, whatever it is, so they can find the support and guidance they need.
Got it. Thank you for that. And also, I know, we've spoken before, but for our listeners out there today, just to also let you know, there's a specifically, you do the one-on-one, you also do the coaching too, right?
Yes, so I do coaching one-on-one. It's
Okay.
over Zoom. So I am out of West Isle of Michigan, but I help all over. I have my show, I have my coaching on Zoom. And the reason I picked Zoom is because it automatically downloads. And then later on, like 2 months later, I will show them our first session so they can see the progress that they have made.
Yeah.
Um, I also do a 8-week program, and inside that program,
Yep.
we work deeper with you and uncover, triggers and how we're going to work on those triggers and goals. And it's just a very close program. We work more one-on-one together and just get you, to where certain things that would bother you before doesn't bother you now, and you can just go out and enjoy things.
Got it. All right. Thank you. And your signature course is it's a 6 to 8 week program, right? But again, how do you figure out how many weeks, how much time someone does need?
Yeah, so everyone is very different on their journey, like if it's someone who is just now realizing that,
Yeah.
hey, I did have some kind of trauma and they didn't know, right? They didn't recognize it. So they're gonna need a lot more time. They're gonna need a lot more time, and they're gonna need more courses and workbooks and stuff like that. And so when I find where they are in their journey, and how they are handling their journey, then I will be able to know what program that I can put them in, how many sessions a week I will have to have with them, and how long the sessions have to be. And then we just, we start diving in. And there's times where
Yeah.
I put individuals in a 6-week program because I feel like that's going to be better for them. And their time comes and they're like, I'm not ready yet. Can I continue? Can we do an 8-week? So sometimes it
Yeah.
goes longer. So it's all about how much deep we go and how much the individual like wants to get healthier. And if they know that they're not there at the end, then we'll just go into another program. I don't ever let my clients go without knowing they
Yeah.
are truly fulfilled, they have what they need, and they're able to take on, their goals and stuff.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And what else in particular are you helping people? I always love hearing, some client experiences of some of the things you're working on without using their names, of course. But did you want to
Yeah,
share?
yeah. hmm Yeah, well, so I mentioned earlier about the one who was always in a dark, in her bedroom, didn't want to leave, and walking through that. There's one of my clients who
Hmm.
had childhood trauma, but didn't want to deal with it, so just kept busy, just kept staying busy, and so finally it came to a point to where her kids were older. I'm still at home, but they were older, and so she didn't have much time, to be all with them because kids get teenagers and they're like, "Oh, mom, don't want you around."
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah, and so that's how we ended up coming together is because she had time in her hands, so she was starting to feel things, and she was starting to like go back to things, and so I you know got on the phone and we did, our consultation, and we did some talking, and I let her know that, what you're feeling and what you're experiencing right now is completely normal. Like, know that. And you have just now found time to process certain things that maybe you haven't found the time to do before because you were so busy being a mom and doing things that made you happy. And it was easier not to think about it. And now it's just harder. So, we were able to work through things, and within like 3 weeks she was a happier person. And she had called me one day, and she was like, I know it's not time for a session, and it's not even today, but I just want you to know that I was able to come outside, and I was able, to
Oh,
like go to the mall and not be scared. Like, I was able to do that. And I mean,
yeah.
I was so proud of her, so proud. And just again,
Yeah.
hearing that is like, yes, you can do it. And I'm so happy for you, So just yeah, different things like that, and hearing you know, the growth in them is great. So
Thank you. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
thank you.
And
Thank
by
you.
the way, if you are just tuning in, don't forget, go to the website. Empowerment Journey. LaTasha Henry is joining us live here right on the show today, talking about how she helps you with a safe place. And she's helping so many people with childhood trauma, mental health, and really, it's time. I feel like, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, but I also feel there's another month that's Mental Health Awareness Month too. But it's really important because I think all of us have been affected by things, and we always want to, live our best life. And at this point, that's the one thing COVID has taught me. It's time to live your best life and make
Yeah.
it happen,
Yeah.
but it's not easy. No, I'm just curious. No, your services, are they all out of pocket? Is there any insurance involved with this? And is it affordable? That might be something that somebody is asking too.
Yeah. So at this moment, I do not take insurance,
Okay.
but I'm working on trying to get that figured out. And I never wanted to be that individual that made it so people could not get treatment, right? Because I'm all about helping and that wouldn't be helping. So no, I do have different plans put in place for different people. And, there are payment plans, of course. And, if someone is,
Yeah.
really needing services and really needing that help, then I do everything to work with them to make sure they get the help that they need. And, even if they start out with just, you know, $50 a month because that's all they can afford. Fine, let's go from there. Like I just, it's all about
Yeah.
giving people back the happiness, the health, and the power that they need because being in a very dark place and feeling alone is horrible. And then
I
I never want
agree.
someone to feel like they can't afford to get themselves better, right? Like that would not be a good feeling. And so I try to make sure I never do that.
Got it. Well, thank you. And in our last 5 minutes together, what else did you want to make sure we cover for today?
Yes, just, how you can reach me, which is LaTashaHenry.com, no space between LaTasha and Henry, Wealthy Women Entrepreneurs Network. And, if in any way that you are struggling, whatever you're struggling with, reach out, get that support that you need, and get yourself to a better place. Remember, you are loved and cared about no matter what you might be thinking right now. And just, yeah, get get your support.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you. And, what would you say to someone out there who's struggling on a daily basis? Are there any mindset techniques you could teach us, to get started?
Yeah, yeah, of course. If you are that person that just wakes up and you're in a terrible mood, or you just feel unhappy all the time because you don't like your job, you don't like what you're doing, I have my clients every morning, one, you know, pray and thank God that you're here, right? Two, write down what it is you're thankful
Yeah.
for. Like what is it that you're thankful for? Write those
Yeah.
down and then think about that. If you stay in a negative mindset, your day is going to be negative. So let's get ourselves out of that and get your mind on to happy thoughts, whether it's your kids and what you do for your kids, and that would be the reason why you're going to work, right? You know,
Yeah.
um, yeah, cleaning the house, turn on some music and start jamming and clean, right? Like just get up and do that. Or sometimes I have clients that take a shower, like just feeling that water like calms them down and like resets their mind. But whatever is comfortable, just get to
Yeah.
a spot where you can reset your mind and get into a happy place by thinking of everything that you love and who needs you. And I promise you, someone needs you, whether it's your kids, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your coworkers, someone needs you. So show up, be the best that you can, and just, know you're loved.
Yeah. Thank you for that. It's always important to know you can reach out to someone. And sometimes family is not the best to rely on. A lot of us do, right?
Yeah.
Not a
Hmm.
good thing. It's good to have someone who's non-judgmental. I think it's an unbiased situation is much better.
Yeah. And I really do agree with that. And it's also unfortunate that family is not really family. And I am very saddened to have to say that, but that is reality. The people that are your family may not be the ones that are the most supportive of you. And so don't give up on yourself. You will find your support, you will find your people and then be with them. That saying, you are who you hang with, right? That is legit. So if you hang around people who are sad and just aren't wanting to see things in a different way, then that's how your mind is going to stay. So let's get focused in a different way. Let's think of happy things and let's get going on that path.
Got it. All right. Thank you so much. And remind us again how we can contact you.
LaTashaHenry.com. Wealthy Women Entrepreneurs Network. You can contact me on Facebook, LaTashaHenry.com, TikTok, Empowering You 3.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you back here. And are we back on again next week?
I believe so, yes.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you. I hope you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for being here and heal fast to your knee. Feel better.
Thank you. Have a good
You're
day.
welcome. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.